just kind of getting an underlayer color here on these leaves. And then there's a leaf back here that's sort of in full light. I'm just going to add a little bit more yellow back into that one that's back there, just to remind me that he's in the background. Now I wet my brush, dried it, and I'm just kind of blending that color in there. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to start on some of the petals. I'm going to get my cadmium yellow, that really bright yellow, and some white, and just a little bit of yellow ochre. And I'm going to get quite a bit of paint on my paintbrush. And this is, again, it's the little watercolor brush. And to do this, I'm going to start my petal here. I'm going to push down the brush, push down, let up on the brush, and twirl it out to where the petal is to the end. Again, I'm going to start here, push down, twirl it, and bring it out. Push down, twirl the brush, and bring it out. And you're going to get some little globs and stuff in there, and that's okay, because that, as you kind of tell, gives you a little bit of texture in your leaves or your petals. I didn't quite mix up enough paint for this. Okay, I'm going to get this back one back here first. Push down, twirl, bring it out. Push down, twirl, and bring it out. Okay. Let's see here. I'm kind of losing my petals on my painting, but I'm just going to go for it here. Again, push down, twirl it out, down, twirl it out, push down, twirl it out. And you probably should load your brush about after each petal. Probably a good idea. Okay, we've got some that are kind of off to the side here. That one I didn't load my brush quite enough. This one's sitting back here. I'm just real lightly now. I'm going to push, twirl. Let's see. We've got that's kind of wonky, but I can fix it later. I'm still doing the, I've kind of got these growing the wrong way. So I'm going to fix this. Okay, since my painting is dry underneath, sort of, here, I got a wet paper towel. I've got this petal going the wrong way. And I am going to wipe it off. Now, it wiped me down to the white, so that's okay. I want this petal to, I'm going to let that dry a little bit. I want this petal to come out more this way instead of this way. So come up here and work on some of these. And I don't have enough paint on my brush. It's going to take quite a bit of yellow paint, so mix up a good amount of that. I'm twirling my brush. Push down, let up, and twirl. That was probably a stupid thing to do. The thing about acrylics, it dries fast. Another thing, when I make a mistake on my stuff, I'm not going to cover it up. I will show you so you can fix it your own if something like that happens. Okay, I'm trying to get these petals to come this way more. And all these aren't the same size, so I'm going to make some smaller ones in here. See if I can't get another one in here. Boy, that petal just doesn't want to be nice. I think the problem is I'm trying to stay within camera shot and it's not at a good angle. So let's see if I can do this. There we go. This one's kind of silly looking here. Okay. That's pretty good for now. Okay, now I'm going to go in and make a really light yellow. Put some white into this yellow that I was using. Load my brush pretty good. Come in here and add, sort of do the same thing. Push down, let up. Get some lighter. These are sort of hitting the light back here. I should have put these in here before I put those other ones in, but we'll fix it. Oops. Too much water in my watercolor brush. Let's see, where was I? Need to get a darker color. Okay. I'm getting way too many petals in there. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, like I said, I am not going to cover up my mistakes by deleting them out. So what I did, I went and got a whole bunch of wet paper towels. And here's what I'm going to do. Yep. Let's see how much of this I can wipe off. If you notice, my petals are still under there. In that dark color. Now you can only do this if you've let your painting underneath dry. If it's not dry underneath, you'll be wiping everything off. And then some. But, yeah. Okay, so what I've got now is pretty much what I started with a little bit of the light in it. So that'll come off too. Okay. See, this is what happens when you make a mistake or you don't like it with acrylic. And you know, with oils, you can do this too, but your layers in oils have to be totally dry before you start wiping off like this. Okay, now I'm going to just start over with my petals. So we'll start that in the next session when I'm in a better painting mood. Hello, on to the next step. Now, I went into this painting and I retraced it, just the petals on this flower. I retraced them and I went back over them with paint again. So this is a little bit cleaner than where I last left off. So I may have worked a little bit down here. I don't remember, but I did go in and reestablish my petals and painted over them again with the yellow ochre. Okay, the next step is going to be reestablishing the sky in a little bit better. And this could be my last go over on the sky background. So I'm going to make sure I've got it covered where I want it to be covered. And that sky again is a little bit of white, or quite a bit of white, a little bit of your blue, ultramarine blue, and a little bit of the turquoise. So I'm going to come in here and whip this in. It's a little more turquoise than what I wanted, so I'll put a little more ultramarine blue into it. More white. Okay, I want that more ultramarine. A little more ultramarine, there we go. And I want it lighter over here, so I'm going to mix quite a bit of white in here. And be a little bit more careful around these petals so I don't lose them. But I also want to make sure there's good coverage on the background. So I'll just pop that in. And I'm doing kind of a hashtag on this to kind of just fill this space in. I don't go straight across like this. I kind of mix up those brush strokes a little bit to make it so it's just not uniform. And another thing, I'm out in the studio now. There's no football games playing out here, and I don't have to compete with the ice cube tray noise. So if it's a little more quiet, that's why. The cat isn't out here, the dogs aren't out here, so it might be a little bit more quiet on this taping. Okay, get just a little bit lighter over here. Oops, there was a dog bark. I don't know if you could hear that. They're outside in the yard. Okay. Oh, I kind of like my dark green background area. I think I'll go over it just a little tiny bit with get a dark green here. Just a little tiny bit, just to make sure I've got all the little white spots covered. And it gives it a little bit more depth too. Kind of swing that up into there. A little bit. I don't like that greeny green color. Let's see if I can darken that up a little bit. To darken your green up, just add a little bit of red to it, and that's too dark. You can see that's too dark. I'm just gonna add a little bit of white. And that made mud, so that wasn't a good thing to do. So remember how I showed you last time how to get rid of something if your painting's totally dry? I don't like it, so it's gone. Now I'll have to go over that a little bit. The blue sky a little bit here. Another thing I want to tell you or remind you is that your acrylic paint will dry darker. So, okay. Looks like some weird stuff over here I'm going to get rid of while I've got the blue brush out. I've actually got a little green into that, so it's not playing very nice here with me. I might have to let this dry and deal with that later. We'll blend this up here just a bit. Let that dry and see if it dries darker or if it's really a darker or a lighter shade. Okay. Go in here and see if I can work on that. That's really still a dark muddy color. I put too much red into that, so that's why I'm getting that really dark brown muddy color. Wipe that out. That's too green. So I'll put a little yellow ochre in that. Let's see how that works. Okay, now that's way too yellow ochre. Let's just mix it a little bit here. Give it a little bit of I'll probably come in here and put some hints of some leaves in there, so don't let that worry you here. Okay. Now that I've got, let's put a little bit of this back in here too. This is looking pretty thin over here as far as the canvas goes. Put a little bit of the dark green in there. Bring that up into the blue. Mix, mix, mix. Well, that would have been better had it been totally dry, but it's okay. I kind of like that fuzzy look. Get some of this darker green filled in here for my background. Whoops, I moved it. Okay, let me keep it in the camera. You can kind of see here where this purple is is thin purple in there. I'm going to fill that in a little bit. Get some of those whites out of there. Okay, a little bit in here. And now I'm going to go to my petals. Now I'm going to be a little bit more picky on the petals this time. I might have to get closer. Another thing is my paint is kind of dry, so let me see if I can use this, or if I have to get more. I might have to get more. I'm going to have to get more paint, but let me just try one little petal here. I'm going to start it. Now these are fairly large little petals to use this smaller brush, and it's a watercolor brush. But I'm going to press down, press down, press down. Now I'm starting to let up, let up, let up, let up, let up. Now that's one side of the petal. Let's see here. I'm going to try this. Press down, press down, press down, and start to let up. Okay. I put two different colors of paint on this. I put yellow ochre and yellow on it, which didn't work too well because I had it backwards, but it did get my petal in there. But I need to have more paint on my brush. And my paint is dry, so I'm going to stop this and load up my palette. I am going to start the petals now again. So I've got my palette loaded with yellow ochre, cadmium yellow, and white. I want quite a bit of paint on my brush. what I've got, you can see my brush here. I've got one side loaded with yellow ochre and one side loaded with light yellow. I'm going to try this and see if it works a little better. See, I want it lighter on the outside. There we go. There we go. Can you see how that got a little varied there in the colors of the petals? Okay, I'm going to hit this little guy again here. Push down, let up, let up, let up. There we go. Push down, let up, and twist. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the twisting. Start it, just barely lay it on here. Now push down, and twist as you go up. And hit that. There we go. I was sort of doing the twisting, but not enough. So I'm going to do this again. Start it, push down, push down. Now I'm doing the other side of the petal here. Push up. I want this darker because this petal's back behind here. Push down, let up, push down, let up. And then there's another little petal right here, and I'll show you how to put him in here in just a second. Fill that in. You can always go back and fiddle with your petals, but don't fiddle too much with it. Let's see. Another thing I might do here is to turn this upside down. That'll help me get these petals in here without really trying to turn around inside out. Let up and twist. Twist and let up. You know, I made that little petal just a little bit darker than those two behind there, but I can also go in after this is dry and darken that up a little bit. So this one is on the outside here, or on the inside. A little bit lighter. And I'm going to dip into the yellow ochre more and a little bit of white and darken up these guys that are back here. Again, you can go in after you're done with this and like darken these a bit. can do this without getting in the way of the camera. Yep, I kind of made a mess of that, but I can go in and fix it later. Let's see I kind of have those the wrong color, but I'm going to show you how to fix that here in a little bit. There's some other mess ups in here, but I'm just going to leave them and not going to fix them, so you can see how you can fix these little guys. I'm going to try him right now and see if I can get him to look a little bit more like a petal. It'll work better if I can do this. Yeah, don't be afraid to change your canvas around here. Didn't work too well there. Okay, this is a foreshortened petal here, so I'm just going to use just a little there. I think there's one here. I left my original in the house and I'm not going to run and get it. So these are all foreshortened. They're going to be a little bit lighter on top of there. And then there's one right here. I think I'm going to put another one here. I think there's... I'll fix that later. Yeah, I messed that up, but we'll fix that later. Let's get a little bit more light on this one. Okay, we've got a good start on the petals. I'll turn him back up right again. I mix up a brown, which is your green and red. I'm gonna put this back in here again, kind of do a hashtag like, and then go a lighter brown. It's kind of got these little, okay, I'm gonna leave it, oh, there we go. Got a little bit of dark brown, light brown, medium brown on that, and I'm just kind of dabbing that. This is just going to be a background color because we're going to go over this with those little things that are in the sunflower seeds when we get fussy and put in detail. And I might just go ahead and get out a burnt sienna or burnt umber and use that brown instead of the brown that I just put in there. Okay, I've got some burnt umber here. I think it'll be a prettier color if I use that. And I'm just using the end of my paintbrush, and it's the watercolor one. And sort of just putting these little textured points in there. Let some of that lighter stuff underneath show through. And it's going to be darker down here, so you can cover up more of the light underneath, and we can always go back in and put more light into. It's not written in stone here. Okay, I've kind of lost my little dark center, so what I'm going to do is get a little bit of the ultramarine blue, a little bit of the red, and mix that purple color back up again. See, there we go. I got that darker now. In here. Okay. Just going into some of these little creases where the petal and the middle meet. So it's not just a round circle. Okay. I'm going to get just a little bit lighter brown. And I'm going to put a little bit more highlight up in here. I think you can kind of see what's going to happen, because the light's shining more up here than it is. And let that just kind of fade down into this other part. I rinse my brush. I'm going to go do some stamping here a little bit with my finger. Okay, I just showed you a trick. That's how you can do leaves on trees too. So yeah, it looks like the sun is shining up on the top of him. And we need a little bit more darker down here. Bring that light just around here just a little bit more. Use my finger stamp. And blend that. There. I think we're good. Now I'm going to have to go get my original photograph so I can see how to do the leaves. We'll catch you later. Welcome back. I know this isn't going to look like I left on the video, but I am back. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at this. I have the black and white shot, and then I have this one that I've manipulated on the computer here, where I've got like about, let's see, what is there, about 4 or 5 different shades here. And on these leaves, I'm looking for these lightest colors here. And that's what I'm going to put in next. We got the lightest color, the next darkest color, and then the really dark. And I'm going to make a couple more shades in here. There's only about 1, 2, 3 here. I'm going to make about 5. But what I'm looking for are the lightest shades, the medium tones, and the darkest shades. Now we've already got our dark in there. And we already have what looks like a medium shade. So I think I'm going to push my medium shades just a little bit. And on my leaves here. And I'm going to look at my colored picture. And I'm going to start putting in some of these light shades and medium tones and darker shades of the green colors. Now the green, you mix that leaf green or sap green with a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white. To darken it up, you'll put your purple into it. Not with just the green and a little bit of the dark purple color. Let's see here. We're going to do the leaf green, a little bit of white, and a little bit of yellow ochre. Kind of get me a medium green or a medium light green here. Let's see, we've got some light up here. Lighter color. And this leaf. We've got light hitting the top of this one a little bit lighter. Lighter. We've got light hitting this one back in here. I'm just looking for these lighter tones on this picture here. A little bit there. There's some back in here. That leaf there. Oh, there's a light back in here. There's light there. A little bit more light here. See, and this leaf here is, I've kind of got this leaf is sort of, he's going off at a different direction than the one in the photograph, so we'll just make do. I might change that later. Okay, now I'm going to lighten that color up a little bit, throw some white into it. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to lighten. Oops, that's too light. That's probably too light too, but I actually like using the palette knife on this better. If I could find my palette knife after my big move, let's see if I can find it. There's one of them. I'm going to use my palette knife on these leaves a little bit here. And if you don't want to use a palette knife, you can still use your paintbrush. If I can get too much brown on that. I'm going to turn my there we go. That didn't go as planned. It this way again. I really like doing my leaves with a palette knife. I don't get quite so fussy with them. Let's see, here's one right here. Let's turn it this way, maybe. Go at him this way here. Oops, I got turquoise in that. That was not planned. Well, we know how to get rid of that turquoise. There we go. Let's see, I've got to mix up a new spot here. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with my brush and kind of reform those leaves a little bit. It's all still pretty wet. Get more of my stem in here. Hit some of these places that are a little bit lighter. Oops. I've got two leaves here that have pretty much lost their way. What I'm going to do is to mix up some really dark green here. To do that, you take your green and mix a little bit of your red and your little bit of your purple blue into it. And it'll get back those dark colors. Still need a little more green into that tone. And so my little leaf lines in here. Okay. Push some of this down into here just a little bit. Just lighten up some of those ends just a little bit. Okay. Now for the most part, this is done. I will go in here and be a little more fussy with my petals. I will give you a shot of that after I'm finished with it, because I'll probably spend some time on that. But what I'm going to be doing is making these petals down here a little bit darker, these lighter, and I'm going to be putting more, maybe I'll just do one here to show you what I'm going to do with the petals of these flowers, using some of the paint I've already got mixed up. Let's just do this one for, I'm going to make some of these tips just a little bit lighter. There. Now there's a lot of extra stuff around there. I'm going to get my dark green color and I'm going to clean that up just a little bit. This is my blending tool, my finger. I just went in there and cleaned that up a little bit. I will take a little bit of my alizarin crimson, my yellow ochre, and get me an orangey color. And I'll probably put in a little bit of dark on those sunflower petals just to... Now I'm rinsing my brush, and I just have a wet brush, and I'm just kind of blending that in a little bit. Now I'll go back and I'm going to get a little bit lighter color here, a little light yellow, and go back onto the outside of this. Make that just a little bit lighter because the light's hitting that. Blend that in. Now my brush is wet, no paint on it. I'm just using it as a blending tool. Let's go a little bit darker over here. Like I said, after I'm all done with this, I'll give you a final shot. Since there's kind of a little shadow probably there from that petal, I just darkened that up just a little bit more. Oh, I'm getting, this will be more of the yellow that was there originally. Now I will go back and do that with almost all these petals, just to give it a little bit. Sorry about moving the camera, kind of in tight quarters here. That's sort of too dark. Because once it dries, I'm going to have to let this dry before I mess with it anymore. But go in here and clean up this around here. As my brush strokes are going the direction of the petal, trying to get that to go. Let's see if this is dry enough here. I'm gonna have to put more yellow, a light yellow on this and let it dry. This is what you do when you have to start over. Just, there we go, we're back to square one pretty much. I'll let that dry. This little petal here is in the background. He's really wonky. I think I'm going to fix him. Oops, I got too much water in that. Guys, this is what I call being fussy. I'm going to probably go in here and be fussy with some of these petals because I want them to be more, not impressionistic like the leaves are, but more... Okay, now I need to get rid of this petal back here, I think. To mix up, I'm just going to put white in here. And I've got orange on that, so. And let that dry. I'll go in there and fill that in with a little bit of blue and green, like my background. And that should take care of that. Sorry about bumping the camera. Okay, I'm going to give it a before shot, and then I'll get you an after shot on this. And then you can fuss with it as much as you want to. I'm going to do a real quick little update here. I went in and I worked on my petals a little more, and I put a little more highlight in the middle of my flower, And I also put a little more highlight of yellow-green on the front part of these leaves to kind of make those pop out just a little bit for the color. The yellow makes that come forward a little bit. The only other thing I'm going to do now is get a little bit of the blue mixed up here for the sky color. And I'm going to bring, whoops, get lost here. I'm going to bring this sky down just a little bit into here. I can hold this still. I'm painting at the same time. The camera's going the same direction as the brush strokes. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit here. Bring this in here just a little bit. Whoops. Okay, I'll take a final picture of this and show it to you.